Welcome back to Brain Fuel TV, where we feed your mind and spark your curiosity. Today we are going back to the very foundations of the New Testament. We have put together the ultimate Jesus quiz to test your Bible knowledge. From his birth in Bethlehem to his ascension from the Mount of Olives, we have 90 questions that will challenge even the most dedicated Bible scholars. Keep your score. Let's see how many you can get right. Let's fuel up. During the temptation, where did the devil take Jesus before telling him to throw himself down? A. A high mountain. B. A wilderness tower. C. The pinnacle of the temple. Answer: the pinnacle of the temple. Matthew 4:5. Then the devil took him up into the holy city, set him on the pinnacle of the temple. To which country did Joseph and Mary take Jesus when Herod sought to kill him? A. Egypt. B. Syria. C. Greece. Answer: Egypt. Matthew 2:14. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night and departed for Egypt. Where were the wise men from who visited baby Jesus? A. The East. B. Egypt. C. Rome. Answer: the East. Matthew 2:1. Wise men from the East came to Jerusalem. In the Good Samaritan parable, who was the neighbor? A. The priest. B. The Levite. C. The Samaritan. Answer: the Samaritan. Luke 10:36-37. He who showed mercy on him. In the vineyard parable, when were the first workers hired? A. At noon. B. In the third hour. C. Early in the morning. Answer: early in the morning. Matthew 21. Who went out early in the morning to hire laborers for his vineyard? Who was called Levi among the apostles? A. Philip. B. Matthew. C. Andrew. Answer: Matthew. Luke 5:27. After these things, he went out and saw a tax collector named Levi. How many stone water pots were filled at the wedding in Cana? A. 4. B. 6. C. 5. Answer: 6. John 2:6. Now there were set there 6 water pots of stone, according to the manner of purification of the Jews, containing 20 or 30 gallons apiece. Which apostle was not present with Jesus during the Transfiguration? A. Andrew. B. James. C. John. Answer: Andrew. Matthew 17:1. Now after 6 days, Jesus took Peter, James, and John his brother, and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. Who was the woman who gave 2 mites as an offering? A. Mary Magdalene, B. A poor widow, C. Anna. Answer: a poor widow. Mark 12:42. A certain poor widow came and threw in 2 mites. Which apostle stood near the cross when Jesus was crucified? A. Peter, B. Andrew, C. John. Answer: John. John 19:26. When Jesus therefore saw his mother and the disciple whom he loved standing by, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold your son." Who ruled Galilee at the time Jesus was crucified? A. Pontius Pilate, B. Caesar Tiberius, C. Herod Antipas. Answer: Herod Antipas. Luke 23:6-7. When Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked if the man were a Galilean. And as soon as he knew that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod, who was also in Jerusalem at that time. What was Jesus doing when he was missing and later found in the temple? A. Teaching the crowds, B. Listening and asking questions, C. Playing with other children. Answer: listening and asking questions. Luke 2:46. Now so it was that after 3 days they found him in the temple, sitting in the midst of the teachers, both listening to them and asking them questions. What did Jesus ride on when he entered Jerusalem? A. A donkey, B. A camel, C. A horse. Answer: a donkey, Matthew 21:7. They brought the donkey and the colt, laid their clothes on them, and set him on them. Who was the king over Judea when Jesus was born? A. Herod, B. Augustus, C. Archelaus. Answer: Herod. Matthew 2:1. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem. How many months older was John the Baptist than Jesus? A. 3 months, B. 6 months, C. 1 month. Answer: 6 months. Luke 1:36. Now indeed, Elizabeth, your relative, has also conceived a son in her old age, and this is now the 6th month for her who was called barren. Who was chosen to replace Judas after his death? A. Matthias, B. Paul, C. Joseph Barsabbas. Answer: Matthias. Acts 1:26. And they cast their lots, and the lot fell on Matthias, and he was numbered with the 11 apostles. Where did Jesus meet the Samaritan woman at the well? A. Jerusalem, B. Galilee, C. Sychar. Answer: Sychar, John 4:5-6. So he came to a city of Samaria, which is called Sychar, near the plot of ground that Jacob gave to his son Joseph. Now Jacob's well was there. What happened to the temple veil when Jesus died? A. It was torn in two. B. It fell down. C. It turned dark. Answer: It was torn in two. Matthew 27:51. Then behold, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom, and the earth quaked, and the rocks were split. How many baskets of leftovers remained after Jesus fed the 5,000? A. 7. B. 12. C. 10. Answer: 12. Matthew 14:20. So they all ate and were filled, and they took up 12 baskets full of the fragments that remained. Who said, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth"? A. Philip. B. Nathanael. C. Thomas. Answer: Nathanael. John 1:46. And Nathanael said to him, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" How many demons did Jesus cast out of Mary Magdalene? A. 5. B. 7. C. 2. Answer: 7. Luke 8:2. And certain women who had been healed of evil spirits and infirmities, Mary called Magdalene, out of whom had come 7 demons. What did Jesus establish for the remembrance of his death? A. The Lord's Supper. B. Passover sacrifices. C. The Day of Atonement. Answer: the Lord's Supper. Luke 22:19. And he took bread, gave thanks and broke it, and gave it to them, saying, "This is my body which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." How many wise men came to see Jesus after his birth? A. Unknown. B. 3. C. 2. Answer: unknown. Matthew 2:1. Now after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, wise men from the east came to Jerusalem. How old was Jesus when he was found in the temple discussing with the teachers? A. 12. B. 11. C. 13. Answer: 12. Luke 2:42. And when he was 12 years old, they went up to Jerusalem according to the custom of the feast. Who saw Jesus first after his resurrection? A. Mary of Bethany. B. Mary, the wife of Clopas. C. Mary Magdalene. Answer: Mary Magdalene. John 20:14. Now when she had said this, she turned around and saw Jesus standing there, and did not know that it was Jesus. Which Old Testament figure appeared with Jesus alongside Moses at the Transfiguration? A. Abraham, B. Elijah, C. David. Answer: Elijah. Matthew 17:3. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, talking with him. Which Caesar was reigning when Jesus was born? A. Caesar Augustus, B. Tiberius Caesar, C. Julius Caesar. Answer: Caesar Augustus. Luke 2:1. And it came to pass in those days that a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. How many loaves did Jesus use to feed the 4,000? A. 5, B. 10, C. 7. Answer: 7. Matthew 15:34. Jesus said to them, "How many loaves do you have?" And they said, 7, and a few little fish. Who ordered that John the Baptist be beheaded? A. Herod, B. Pilate, C. Caesar. Answer: Herod. Mark 6:27. Immediately the king sent an executioner and commanded his head to be brought, and he went and beheaded him in prison. Whose ear was cut off by Peter during Jesus' arrest? A. Caiaphas, B. Malchus, C. Jonathan. Answer: Malchus. John 18:10. Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it and struck the high priest's servant and cut off his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus. How many days after his resurrection did Jesus ascend to heaven? A. 40 days, B. 3 days, C. 10 days. Answer: 40 days. Acts 1:3. To whom he also presented himself alive after his suffering by many infallible proofs, being seen by them during 40 days, and speaking of the things pertaining to the kingdom of God. What time of day did Jesus die? A. At dawn, B. At the 9th hour, C. At midnight. Answer: At the 9th hour. Mark 15:34. And at the 9th hour Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, Eloi, Eloi, lama sabachthani. Who asked Jesus, what is truth? A. Nicodemus, B. Pontius Pilate, C. Herod Antipas. Answer: Pontius Pilate. John 18:38. Pilate said to him, What is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again to the Jews. Who carried Jesus' cross after him? A. Simon of Cyrene, B. Joseph of Arimathea, C. Nathanael. Answer: Simon of Cyrene. Luke 23:26. Now as they led him away, they laid hold of a certain man, Simon a Cyrenian, and on him they laid the cross that he might bear it after Jesus. Who was known as the disciple whom Jesus loved? A. Peter, B. James, C. John. Answer: John. John 13:23. Now there was leaning on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples, whom Jesus loved. How many disciples did Jesus have? A. Many. B. 15. C. 12. Answer: many. Luke 6:13. And when it was day, he called his disciples to himself, and from them he chose 12, whom he also named apostles. Who was the high priest during the trial of Jesus? A. Annas, B. Caiaphas, C. Gamaliel. Answer: Caiaphas. Matthew 26:3. Then the chief priests, the scribes and the elders, assembled at the palace of the high priest, who was called Caiaphas. What was Jesus doing when the storm struck the boat? A. Sleeping. B. Praying. C. Teaching. Answer: sleeping. Mark 4:38. But he was in the stern, asleep on a pillow. Which prisoner was released instead of Jesus? A. Barabbas, B. the Egyptian, C. Judas the Galilean. Answer: Barabbas. Matthew 27:21. The governor answered and said to them, "Which of the two do you want me to release to you?" They said, "Barabbas." What did Jesus write on the ground when the adulterous woman was brought to him? A. The law. B. Unknown. C. Their names. Answer: unknown. John 8:6. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger. What exactly he wrote is unknown. What kind of tree did Jesus curse? A. A fig tree. B. An olive tree. C. A sycamore tree. Answer: a fig tree. Mark 11:13-14. Seeing from afar a fig tree having leaves, he said to it, "Let no one eat fruit from you ever again." To whom did Jesus say, "You must be born again"? A. A Pharisee. B. John the Baptist. C. Nicodemus. Answer: Nicodemus. John 3:3. Jesus answered and said to him, "Most assuredly I say to you, unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom of God." Where did Jesus ascend into heaven? A. Galilee. B. The Mount of Olives. C. Mount Carmel. Answer: The Mount of Olives. Acts 1:12. Then they returned to Jerusalem from the mount called Olivet. Who entered the empty tomb first? A. Peter. B. John. C. James. Answer: Peter. Luke 24:12. But Peter arose and ran to the tomb, and stooping down he saw the linen cloths lying by themselves. Which Caesar ruled during the crucifixion of Jesus? A. Julius Caesar. B. Augustus. C. Tiberius Caesar. Answer: Tiberius Caesar. Luke 3:1. Now in the 15th year of the reign of Tiberius Caesar, where was Jesus crucified? A. Mount Moriah. B. Golgotha. C. Bethany. Answer: Golgotha. John 19:17. And he, bearing his cross, went out to a place called Golgotha. Who wrote the inscription, Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews, on his cross? A. Pilate. B. Herod. C. Caiaphas. Answer: Pilate. John 19:19. Now Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross, and the writing was, Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. What did Jesus do after his resurrection to prove he was not a spirit? A. Touched Thomas. B. Spoke to the disciples. C. Ate food. Answer: ate food. Luke 24:42-43. So they gave him a piece of a broiled fish and some honeycomb, and he took it and ate in their presence. Who recognized Jesus as the Messiah when he was presented in the temple as a baby? A. Simeon. B. Gamaliel. C. Joseph of Arimathea. Answer: Simeon. Luke 2:28. He took him up in his arms and blessed God. What did Jesus call Herod Antipas? A. A wolf. B. A blind guide. C. A fox. Answer: a fox. Luke 13:32. And he said to them, Go, tell that fox. Which prophet did Jesus compare himself to regarding his death? A. Jeremiah. B. Jonah. C. Elijah. Answer: Jonah. Matthew 12:40. For as Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the great fish, so will the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. How many baskets were collected after feeding the 4,000? A. 12. B. 10. C. 7. Answer: 7. Matthew 15:37. So they all ate and were filled, and they took up 7 large baskets full of the fragments that were left. After his resurrection, where did Jesus tell his disciples to meet him? A. Bethany. B. Galilee. C. Nazareth. Answer: Galilee. Matthew 28:10. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and tell my brethren to go to Galilee, and there they will see me." Which woman was not part of Jesus' ministry? A. Jezebel. B. Joanna. C. Mary Magdalene. Answer: Jezebel. Luke 8:2-3 mentions the women who followed him. Jezebel is not among them. Who was the father of John the Baptist? A. Joseph. B. Zacharias. C. Cleopas. Answer: Zacharias. Luke 1:13. But the angel said to him, "Do not be afraid, Zacharias." Which prophetess was present at the dedication of Jesus? A. Anna. B. Deborah. C. Huldah. Answer: Anna. Luke 2:36. Now there was one, Anna, a prophetess. Who ruled Judea when Joseph returned from Egypt with Mary and Jesus? A. Herod Antipas. B. Tiberius. C. Archelaus. Answer: Archelaus. Matthew 2:22. But when he heard that Archelaus was reigning over Judea, he was afraid to go there. In which region was Cana? A. Samaria. B. Galilee. C. Judea. Answer: Galilee. John 2:1. On the 3rd day there was a wedding in Cana of Galilee. How many days old was Jesus when he was circumcised? A. 8 days. B. 7 days. C. 10 days. Answer: 8 days. Luke 2:21. And when 8 days were completed for the circumcision of the child. Which king ordered the killing of male children in Bethlehem? A. Tiberius. B. Herod. C. Agrippa. Answer: Herod. Matthew 2:16. Then Herod sent forth and put to death all the male children. Which feast did Jesus attend before going missing as a child? A. Passover. B. Tabernacles. C. Pentecost. Answer: Passover. Luke 2:41. His parents went to Jerusalem every year at the feast of the Passover. Where did Zacchaeus climb the sycamore tree? A. Jerusalem. B. Hebron. C. Jericho. Answer: Jericho. Luke 19:1-4. Then Jesus entered and passed through Jericho, and he ran ahead and climbed up into a sycamore tree to see him. On which sea did Jesus walk? A. The Dead Sea. B. The Red Sea. C. The Sea of Galilee. Answer: the Sea of Galilee. Matthew 14:25. Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them, walking on the sea. In what garden did Jesus pray before his arrest? A. Eden. B. Gethsemane. C. Kidron. Answer: Gethsemane. Matthew 26:36. Then Jesus came with them to a place called Gethsemane. Where did Jesus grow up? A. Nazareth. B. Bethlehem. C. Capernaum. Answer: Nazareth. Luke 4:16. So he came to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. Where was Jesus when the adulterous woman was brought to him? A. The marketplace. B. The Mount of Olives. C. The temple. Answer: the temple. John 8:2. Now early in the morning he came again into the temple. Where did Judas betray Jesus with a kiss? A. The upper room. B. Gethsemane. C. The synagogue. Answer: the Garden of Gethsemane. John 18:1-2. He went out with his disciples to a garden, for Jesus often met there with his disciples. How many days later was Jesus found after going missing? A. 3 days. B. 4 days. C. 2 days. Answer: 3 days. Luke 2:46. Now so it was that after 3 days they found him in the temple. What was Zacchaeus' occupation? A. Fisherman. B. Carpenter. C. Chief tax collector. Answer: Chief tax collector. Luke 19:2. Now behold, there was a man named Zacchaeus who was a chief tax collector. Who asked Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" A. Caiaphas. B. Pilate. C. Herod. Answer: Pilate. John 18:33. Then Pilate said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" What is the meaning of Golgotha? A. Place of a skull. B. Place of sorrows. C. Place of bones. Answer: place of a skull. John 19:17. To the place called the place of a skull, which is called in Hebrew, Golgotha. When Jesus healed 10 lepers, how many returned to give thanks? A. 10, B. 2, C. 1. Answer: 1. Luke 17:15. And one of them, when he saw that he was healed, returned. Which disciple was called Cephas? A. John, B. Thomas, C. Peter. Answer: Peter. John 1:42. You shall be called Cephas, which is translated a stone. Where was Mary when Gabriel announced Jesus' birth? A. Jerusalem, B. Nazareth, C. Bethlehem. Answer: Nazareth. Luke 1:26-27. To a city of Galilee named Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed. In which town did Jesus raise the widow's son? A. Nain, B. Bethany, C. Jericho. Answer: Nain. Luke 7:11. Now it happened that he went into a city called Nain. Where was the robbed man traveling to in the Good Samaritan parable? A. Capernaum, B. Jerusalem, C. Jericho. Answer: Jericho. Luke 10:30. A certain man went down from Jerusalem to Jericho. Where was Lazarus from? A. Bethany, B. Cana, C. Jericho. Answer: Bethany. John 11:1. Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. Why did soldiers break the legs of the thieves crucified with Jesus? A. To hasten their death, B. To show mercy, C. To prevent escape. Answer: To hasten their death. John 19:32. Then the soldiers came and broke the legs of the first and of the other who was crucified with him. Why did the foolish virgins miss the bridegroom? A. They fell asleep. B. They had no oil. C. They came early. Answer: They had no oil. Matthew 25:3. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. Who provided Jesus' tomb? A. Nicodemus, B. Joseph of Cyprus, C. Joseph of Arimathea. Answer: Joseph of Arimathea. Matthew 27:57. Joseph, a rich man from Arimathea, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. How many fish were caught in the miraculous catch? A. 300, B. 153, C. 200. Answer: 153. John 21:11. Full of large fish, 153. Which prophet did Jesus compare himself to before Nicodemus? A. Moses, B. Jonah, C. Elijah. Answer: Moses. John 3:14. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. Who objected when Jesus washed the disciples' feet? A. James, B. Andrew, C. Peter. Answer: Peter. John 13:8. Peter said to him, "You shall never wash my feet." Jesus is priest forever according to which order? A. Aaron, B. Melchizedek, C. Levi. Answer: Melchizedek. Hebrews 7:17. You are a priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek. Who passed by the robbed man first in the Good Samaritan parable? A. A priest, B. A scribe, C. A merchant. Answer: A priest. Luke 10:31. Now by chance a certain priest came down that road. What does the mustard seed represent? A. Faith, B. The kingdom of heaven, C. Works. Answer: The kingdom of heaven. Matthew 13:31. The kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed. In the parable of the persistent widow, what did she continually seek? A. Mercy, B. Protection, C. Justice. Answer: Justice. Luke 18:3, a widow, said, "Get justice for me from my adversary." In the parable of the rich fool, what did he plan to do? A. Build bigger barns, B. Distribute goods, C. Borrow money. Answer: Build bigger barns. Luke 12:18. I will pull down my barns and build greater. Where did Jesus say believers should store up their treasures? A. In heaven, B. In earthly barns, C. In secret vaults. Answer: In heaven. Matthew 6:20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven. How did Jesus describe the gate that leads to heaven? A. Wide, B. Broad, C. Narrow. Answer: narrow. Matthew 7:14. Because narrow is the gate and difficult is the way which leads to life. How did your brain handle that fuel? That was a long journey from the manger to the empty tomb. Did you get tripped up on any of the tricky ones? A lot of people forget that it was actually Peter who entered the empty tomb first, not John. Or that Jesus called Herod Antipas a fox. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the Bible, please hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Comment your final score down below. We want to see who the real experts are. And don't forget to subscribe to Brain Fuel TV and ring the bell so you never miss your next mental workout. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.